Hey fight fans, welcome back to the Fight Book. The Indian Action Guy is back with the new episode of Fight News, and today we have 6 new fight announcements, 3 of them world title fights and also 4 fight cancellations. So without wasting any time, let's start from UFC fight announcements, and the first one is Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. Yes, this fight was cancelled from UFC Mexico card, but this is now rebooked, and this middleweight bout is added at UFC 316 card, headlined by Mirab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. The main card of UFC 316 now looks good. Second fight is a women's strawweight bout between Denise Gomez versus Elise Reed that is added at UFC Vegas 106 May 17 card, which was rumored to be headlined by Movsar Evloev versus Aaron Pico. If you follow the fight news, I had already told you that this fight was not official and Movsar Evloev would probably wait until the results of UFC 314 main event. And guess what? The same happened. Movsar Evloev's team have confirmed that Movsar decided to wait until the result of UFC 314 main event between Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopez. Both have already showed their desire to fight Movsar Evloev as their first title defense. So if this happened, Movsar Evloev would not take this fight. But if Patricio Pitbull gets a great finish and UFC decides to go with Pitbull, Movsar Evloev will have to take this fight. Aaron Pico also mentions Brian Ortega and Aljamain Sterling as his potential opponents if Movsar fight doesn't happen. Then we have a new fight in works, and it is another lightweight banger. Mauricio Ruffy versus top-ranked lightweight contender Beneil Dariush. Yes, Mauricio Ruffy reveals that the UFC has expressed interest in a bout between him and Dariush at UFC 317 card during International Fight Week. This is definitely going to be a banger if gets made successfully. Moreover, official poster for UFC Kansas City Ian Machado Gary versus Carlos Prates card is released, and it looks awesome. UFC nowadays is really making good posters. By the way, Prates' original opponent Jeff Neal, who was supposed to fight him this weekend at UFC 314, announced by Instagram that he underwent elbow surgery and now he hopes to fight this summer. Talking about UFC 314, the co-main event fighter Paddy Pimblett is now in a new beef against Arman Tsarukyan. He called Tsarukyan posh boy who has had everything handed to him in a podcast, and Tsarukyan in response dared him to call him out if he gets victorious at UFC 314 over Michael Chandler. And I'm 100% sure Paddy is not gonna do that. Anyway, Mateusz Gamrot, who has a win over Arman Tsarukyan, has offered Tsarukyan a fight so that he can get his chance to revenge as well as get his title shot back. And last news from the UFC, Leron Murphy moves up 2 spots to number 8 position in the latest official featherweight ranking update after beating Josh Emmett last week at UFC Vegas 106. Emmett falls 2 spots at number 10. And that was the only update of this week's rankings. Now let's move on to the boxing news. There are 4 fights announced officially, 3 of them world title fights. First is announced from Matchroom, their Madison Square Garden card June 14th, which will be headlined by super lightweight IBF champion Richardson Hitchens versus IBF number 3 ranked George Kambosos Jr. It will be the first defense of 19-0 Hitchens in his hometown after winning the belt from Liam Paro via split decision in December 2024. On the other hand, Campos has made his successful super lightweight debut in March 2024, and he is a former undisputed lightweight champion. Next, Jake Paul's most valuable promotion also announced their full card for Madison Square Garden July 11th, headlined by Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 3 and co-headlined by Alicia Baumgardner defending her undisputed super featherweight belts against Jennifer Miranda. These 2 fights were already announced, but now 3 new fights are added on the card, 2 of them world title unification bouts. This is an all-women card, so these 3 fights are also women boxing bouts. First is Super Bantamweight unification fight between Ring Magazine, WBO and IBF Super Bantamweight champion Alice Courtney versus WBC champion Yamilet Mercado. This will be the fourth defense of 10-0 Courtney, while Mercado will be making the 10th defense of her WBC Super Bantamweight belt. Second is a bantamweight title unification fight between Ring Magazine, WBO and WBC champion Dina Thorsland versus IBF bantamweight champion Chureta Metcalf. It will be the 8th defense of 23-0 Danish fighter Thorsland, while Metcalf will be making the first defense of her IBF belt. Lastly, middleweight bout between former Olympian and current WBA number 5 ranked middleweight 2-0 Canadian Tam Thibault versus 6-0 Mary Casamessa. This fight will happen under men's rule, which means there will be 3 minutes rounds. And official boxing announcements end here. Now let's talk about some big scale potential fights that you all are waiting for. First is lightweight championship bout between WBC champion Shakur Stevenson versus WBC interim champion William Zepeda. The WBC has now ordered Shakur Stevenson to defend his belt against Zepeda. Both sides have 30 days or until May 6 to reach a deal to avoid purse bids. If a purse bid is needed, the split will be 70-30 in favor of Stevenson. But Golden Boy Promotion is still asking the WBC for a more favorable 55-45 split. Then the fight between WBO number 1 super middleweight contender Diego Pacheco versus Trevor McKenby is reportedly signed for this summer. The venue is still to be decided, but the likely date will be June 21st. And last news from boxing is that IBF number 4 ranked 8-0 Yosuke Takami won against Toshiki Kawamitsu in their boxing match last night in Tokyo. Takami secured the victory by TKO in the 6th round. He is now in a clear position to get a big fight where a win can get him a world title shot. Now let's talk about the fight that got cancelled. First one is Keyshawn Davis versus Edwin De Los Santos. De Los Santos rejected Top Rank's latest offer of $200,000 and Top Rank has chosen to pursue a different opponent rather than offer De Los Santos more money to fight Keyshawn Davis. Moreover, this weekend's card, which was supposed to headline by Rampage Jackson versus Rashad Evans, has now completely cancelled, or you can say postponed. Their main event between Jackson versus Evans was cancelled due to contractual obligations and they couldn't find a suitable opponent to headline against Evans. So they decided to postpone the event rather than promoting some undercard fight to headline the card. The new main event of PFL's this Thursday card is also cancelled. PFL's Bantamweight and Women Flyweight tournament is happening this weekend and the card was first supposed to headline by Magomedov, who pulled out. Then it was supposed to headline by Tyler Santos and now Santos also pulled out. Now the card will be headlined by Leandro Higo versus Josh Rettinghouse, and Jake Hadley's 16-0 Tajik opponent also pulled out, and Jake Hadley will now make his PFL debut against former top 5 Bellator bantamweight Mateusz Matos. This is a better opponent for Hadley, so with the good wishes for Hadley, the fight news ends here because now you are completely up to date with the fight world. Now I'll see you again tomorrow with the new interesting fight news. So if you want to stay updated, do not forget to subscribe the channel and then do whatever you want.